Hey, good morning. We're going to go ahead and get started. Calling the committee to order.
With authority.
With authority. All right, Mr. Clerk, can you open the roll? And the record should reflect that Delegate Ware is also here. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. I see Senator Survell. We have only two bills up, subcommittee members. So Senator Survell's bill, Senate Bill 645. Are you ready? No. Oh, but he's not ready. The other person would be Senator McDougall, but he is running a little bit late. With great enthusiasm.
Which bill is this? What's the number?
This is your biomethane.
Okay.
645.
645. Okay. Madam Chair, the genesis of 645 is one I think you're familiar with. So Fairfax County has a incinerator that burns trash for 1.1 million people in Fairfax County, another 200,000 people in Arlington County, and then another, 600,000 people in D.C. So it burns trash for about 2 million people. It's about one 18-wheeler load full of trash every 2 minutes. Besides regular household waste, they also burn a lot of organics. They burn food waste, they burn yard waste, they burn all that kind of stuff. About 2 years ago, I took a tour of a facility in Quebec City with Delegate Sullivan on an NCSL conference, where in Quebec City they take organics and they segregate them and turn them into biomethane. So you can make methane out of organics instead of having to use fracked methane. The way they do it is they have people put their food waste in purple bags. There's air cannons on the conveyor belt that segregate the waste, so you don't have to have a separate collection system. They take it, put it in a Cuisinart with some water, blend it up, bake it for a week, methane, and take the end product and put it on farm fields as a soil amendment. So I'm trying to create the legal framework to be able to do this in Fairfax County. Quebec City is about 600,000 people. This would be trash for about 2 million people. The Fairfax County facility is operated by ReWorld, who's their government relations specialist is present today. But we came up with this language as a way to try to start to create the legal framework to be able to do this in Fairfax. And that's also what the enactment clause is about. If you look at the enactment clause, it directs everybody to get together to try to figure out the feasibility and economics of doing this kind of a project in Fairfax County. But it would also, again, benefit Arlington and all DC's trash, too, and keep a lot more trash out of landfills and off the highway. And by the way, if this incinerator were to close, you'd be talking about a massive, you can't even imagine the pile of trash this would create long-term in King George County and how much traffic it would create on I-95 through the Occoquan bottleneck. So that's basically what the bill did. Originally it had a provision in it to exempt ReWorld from the VCEA for reasons I'll get into if you really want me to, but that was taken out. That was taken out of the bill. So the bill as it remains basically creates an expedited permitting process for a facility that would do this kind of biomethanization, although the Sierra Club and I have been having some debate about exactly how far it goes. And so part of what we were just talking about over there on the side, and as I was talking about in my car on the way in here with them, is about limiting the language in the bill to, what, PD8 or something like that? Yeah, limiting it to PD8. They would eliminate their concern about it having unintended consequences outside Fairfax County, and then leaving the enactment clause as is. And I think that would eliminate anybody who has consternation about it.
Thank you, Senator Survell. Does that mean that you are looking for some type of amendment?
Yeah, it does. You just need to limit the language in the bill to PD8.
Okay, I'm going to let council kind of noodle on that as we see if there are any questions from our subcommittee members.
Under Romanet 6 in both of the provisions.
All right, I don't see any hands up, but I do have a question for you, and I know you focused on the impacts to Fairfax County. Does this also affect Arlington County as it is in Planning District 8 and also brings their trash to either our facility or the facility in Alexandria?
It could, not the Alexandria facility. If Alexandria chose to try to do the same thing, I guess it could affect them. I think Reworld operates Alexandria too, I think, don't they? Yeah. That's a separate incinerator. But part of what the group needs to sit down and figure out is what kinds of pieces you need to put in place to make all this feasible. And for example, in Quebec City, they voluntarily ask people to put their food in purple bags. They don't mandate it. And I don't know what they do about large food waste. And I know, Madam Chair, you have a bill, as do I. That we're going to have to reconcile about large.
About compost, yes,
Yeah,
how to reduce organic waste.
Yeah, but in Maryland, they mandate large food waste creators to segregate their waste. My bill gives localities the authority Dillon Rule authority to require it if they want. I don't remember, I haven't looked at yours yet, what yours does, but in any event, those kinds of things are things that have to be figured out in order to figure out whether this is feasible or not, because you got to have enough food waste to put in the thing to make it work.
No, yeah, I understand, and as you know, and folks in the room may know, the senator and I share our incinerator in Fairfax County in our districts. But I was just looking at the language specifically for in the enactment clause, whereas any county using an urban county executive form of government operating an incinerator in Planning District 8, and if that also would include Arlington County, but they don't operate that incinerator because it's located in Alexandria, even though they bring their trash.
If you want to add them to the thing as well, you could say the county under the county manager plan form of government. I think that would pick them up.
Thank you. Are there any folks in the room who wish to speak in support of the bill? Okay, I got a thumbs up for the record from the Chesapeake Bay Foundation. Come on up. Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Karina Bell. I'm representing the Sierra Club Virginia chapter, and thanks to the patron for our conversations about this bill as it's moved forward through the process. We do have concern about taking waste-to-energy facilities out of the CPCN process, where a new facility would need to go before the State Corporation Commission and receive a full environmental review by DEQ before the State Corporation Commission makes a determination about whether this project is needful. Putting it into the permit by rule process, it's an expedited process. Rather than looking at 4 to 8 months for approval, you're looking at more like 90 days for approval of a facility. So limiting the geographic location where these facilities can be so that the senator's intent is shown in the language and it is targeted towards this existing facility, I think is a positive change.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Lillian Anderson with Virginia Conservation Network, and would associate myself with the comments of Sierra Club and really appreciate the patron working with us on this.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Cal Whitehead, Commonwealth Strategy Group for Reworld. Reworld operates in partnership the two facilities in Northern Virginia. Wanted to thank Senator Survell for his interest in this topic. I think the bigger picture is his and yours, Madam Chair, search for what methods are out there existing in the world and might be in the near future on doing smarter things with waste, and especially in a high density area like Northern Virginia. That's going to be important for land conservation and many other reasons. So thanks to the patron, and I'm here to answer any questions if I can. Thanks.
Great. Thank you so much. Are there any folks who wish to speak in opposition to this bill? All right. I don't think we have anybody.
There was somebody, I think she's always.
Oh, she was here. Yes, she's here in person. Cool. And then Delegate Glass, did you have a question?
Gratitude, Madam Chair. I too was having, heard mentioned the expedited permitting process, and I was wondering if someone from DEQ can just talk us a little bit about where they are on that particular piece of the bill, Madam Chair.
Oh, thank you so much. Good morning, Director.
Good morning, Chairman Tran and fellow members of the committee. My name is Mike Broadband. I'm the Director of DEQ, and we have not worked yet on developing a PBR, permit by rule, for this project because we're waiting for the legislation to pass. But we do have PBRs that cover other projects, and it's basically, as the Sierra Club said, it's an expedited permit process that typically takes 90 days or less. And we will publish specific requirements to meet that permit type, and if it meets those requirements, then it does get approved. But in the meantime, first we have to do a study. We have to look at, there's a whole bunch of things that are in this legislation that has to be done before we actually create that permit by rule.
Madam
Delegate
Chair.
Glass, you have follow-up?
Yes, Madam Chair. So I'm also curious about, and forgive my ignorance of the process here for permitting, is how typical is it to have this sort of process in play? And are there any sort of guidelines that we need to have in our mind that that it must fall into in order to?
Yeah. We have an existing permit by rule process that includes solar projects, for example, battery projects, certain wind projects, I believe. So it does exist, and we use it frequently to encourage, renewable energy, basically. And so this fits in that matrix of areas.
Okay, thank you. Council, did you have a suggestion for the amendment that the senator is seeking?
Madam Chair, yes, so to limit to Planning District 8, both on lines 26 and on line 49, after facility, add for any locality in Planning District 8.
And Madam Chair, I just got a text from LCV. They'd requested one other amendment, which is the addition of one word. And that's, which is provided that such facility, they thought it'd be better worded to say provided that any such facility. Any such facility.
Okay, so I think for our subcommittee members and for council, it sounds like, if this tracks with what you have, council, on lines 26, it would read, an electrical generation facility for localities in Planning District 8, and then that would be repeated on line 49 after the word facility, and then on line 28, this interconnection facility is provided that any such facility is capable of, and that would be repeated on line 51. Okay, so then everybody following along has gotten that.
Yeah, and then we need to add the Arlington County language down the enactment clause.
I think council says she has some language for that.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, so that would be on line 56 after government, add or county manager form of government.
I think Delegate Hope had a bill. Doesn't repeal that, though, does it?
All right, it looks like it would be line 56, executive form of government or county manager form of government operating an incinerator. Okay. We have all these amendments before us. If we can move them, please. All those, I suddenly forgot the right words for that. All those who support the movement of these amendments, say aye. Any opposed? All right. So if we would like to move this bill forward, it does need to be re-referred to appropriations.
Second.
There's been a motion to report and refer to appropriations with amendments as amended Senate Bill 645. And if Mr. Clerk can open the roll. Okay, and that motion passes by a vote of 8-0. Thank you so much, Senator Serval.
Yeah, thanks.
Good morning, Senator McDougall.
This bill 163 is not nearly as complicated or interesting as the one you just heard. Madam Chairman, this came to me from a couple of volunteers, and they might have called in to be able to testify. They live in Gloucester, have become very focused in the Machicomico State Park, and they do a tremendous amount of volunteer work and have a group of volunteers that are there. They're in the park. There are a significant number of invasive trees, which you might know commonly as Bradford pear, known as the calorie. We passed a law a number of years ago that said that volunteers can apply certain herbicides in local government situations. We did not apply that to state government situations. We tried to work with the department over the summer to see if we could find a way not to do this statutorily. They said they did not believe that they had the authority to authorize volunteers without a statute change because it says specifically local government. So this just allows volunteers on state property supervised by the state agency. So the state agency does not have to authorize this. It's not a requirement, but it does permit it to happen. And in this particular park, I think it would, and I'm sure in other places, they could be a force multiplier because there's just not enough state employees to be able to deal with the situation.
Thank you so much, Senator. Are there any questions from our committee members? Okay, I don't see any hands up. Are there any folks in the room who wish to speak in support of this bill? Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Jay Ford with the Chesapeake Bay Foundation. I'm glad he used the Bradford pear as his example. It's my least favorite tree in Virginia, and it is wrecking Virginia state parks, the VDOT middle of the road, and many other places. But I think the most important thing when we're talking about invasive management is that by DCR's own estimates, we have about $1 billion in impact to our state parks and state lands. As a farm owner, I also spend many a weekend cutting these suckers out, and that never gets covered anywhere in these assessments as well. So they have a tremendous impact on private industry and our farm community. So keeping them in check is a huge deal, and our parks can either be the example or they become a breeding ground for these species that are moving out around the state. And so this is an important tool to help address them. And we thank the senator.
Great. Thank you so much. Are there any folks in the room who wish to speak in opposition to this bill? Okay, I don't see anybody. I think there's a tool that you can use to track certain invasive plants in Virginia, and the Bradford pear tree is one of the ones that you can track on that online tool.
Okay. Thank you.
You can encourage the volunteers to track as they treat
They have, this particular group has documented this 600-acre park, and they know where everything is in the park. They spend a lot of time, and they showed me all their documentation. So I'm a little more familiar with it now than I was.
Awesome. This bill does not need to be reported or referred to appropriations if we make a motion on it.
Move to report.
Second. All right, there's been a motion to report Senate Bill 163, that's properly been seconded. Mr. Clerk, if you can open the roll. All right. And that motion passes by a vote of 9-0. Thank you so much, Senator.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, members of the committee. Y'all have a good rest of your day.
You too. Thank you so much. And that concludes the subcommittee's work this morning. The full committee will be meeting at 9 o'clock, and we will see everyone then. Thank you.